Misconception, a view or opinion that is incorrect based on faulty thinking or understanding. So what does this mean? Well, in this day and age, especially with social media, we interact with more people and more ideas than ever, and oftentimes we can get flooded with information that's incorrect, information that is correct, and it's extremely hard to tell what's correct or incorrect, especially considering that everything is really just based off of perception. So what's right to you could be wrong to someone else, and what's wrong to you could be right to someone else. So even when you call something a fact, that itself can be subjective, and it's important that everything, especially factual, is objective. But especially when it comes to dating, there's so many preconceived notions that men and women have about each other just through our own experiences we've seen, experiences that we've heard of, and really just fallacies that we all make up, in our head. So in today's episode, we're diving into a question that I was extremely interested to ask the other week, and I think you guys might be interested to hear what it is too. But I basically asked men and women, what is the biggest misconception, that we have about each other that is incorrect? So we're going to, start this episode off by talking to this group of girls, that I asked this question to. And let's go ahead and hear what they had to say. What is the biggest misconception that men have about women?
They're always like, if girls are scared, you should go up to a guy, but guys tend to be very judgmental about women, and I feel like men are typically more picky about the way that women look, at least in my opinion. As a brunette, and I'm 5'10", I'm not gonna go up to a guy because I'm not the typical stereotype. Typically guys who are I need a blonde. Definitely go up to a woman, they will not care. If they say no, they say no, and that's okay. Go up to them. You'll never know. That's what men are supposed to do. So we don't go up to men. That's just not something we know to do.
Very, very, very interesting, actually. So as you guys heard, what is the biggest misconception that men have about women that is incorrect? And I actually think they both gave very interesting responses. The first girl off the bat said that, a lot of guys always kind of say, well, if a girl's interested in us, why doesn't she come up to us? Why, if I make eye contact with somebody, if I see somebody out in public and I know she's interested in me and I'm interested in her, we make that long eye contact, she walks by me a few times, why doesn't she walk up to me? And what she basically said, which actually that is a very interesting question that I might have to ask later this week on women hitting on guys, but she said most guys are extremely picky. Most guys are very, very picky. So listen to this.
They're always if girls are scared, you should go up to a guy, but guys tend to be very judgmental about women, and I feel like men are typically more picky about the way that women look, at least in my opinion. As a brunette, and I'm 5'10", I'm not gonna go up to a guy because I'm not the typical stereotype. Typically guys who are I need a blonde.
She said most guys are judgmental, and because of that, it's hey, if I don't fit the exact stereotype of what I know most guys are interested in, then it makes me, feel kind of insecure. I don't want to walk up to you and get rejected. And I can't blame her for saying this. I really do think that when it comes to women, society often bases, their value off of how they look, for better or worse. This isn't some blue pill, thing against men that, men do this wrong and men only care about how we look, because women also do it to themselves. They do it to each other. Society does it to them. Their dads, their parents do it to them. The first thing that gets talked about, when a girl's growing up is how pretty she is. She's a princess. She's a queen. She's this, she's that. And I'm not knocking that. I'm just being objective that, that's a relevant thing. If you're a good father, you obviously want to tell your daughter, that she's beautiful, that she's, she's bright, she's smart, she's like a princess, a queen. These are just, it's a loving thing to do. But it can also kind of be a double-edged sword because a lot of their value ends up getting based off of how they look. I mean, just think about any girl right now. Picture any girl in your head. It could be a friend, somebody you dated, whatever. Now think about how long it takes a lot of them to get ready. And I'm a pretty high maintenance guy, so I take a while to get ready too. So I guess you could apply this to me. But for the most part, women are never really going to step out in public looking some type of way. For the most part, even if they wear like the yoga pants and stuff, they always, to some degree, for the most part, not all the time. Obviously, there's exceptions to that. You're grocery shopping and you're like, I don't want to get dressed up. But for the most part, women are pretty presentable. Guys are the ones who kind of go out in like basketball shorts and slides and call it a day. And women, some do that, but not really as much. And the reason I say that is because, women's looks are often, a large part of how much they get valued. And I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm just saying, when a girl is much more pretty and much more like naturally beautiful, she gets extended different olive branches. There's a thing actually called pretty privilege. And I really didn't know this, but pretty privilege, it goes both ways, When you're better looking, you get things your way. When you're a better looking girl, if any of you guys have ever been to Miami, or if you've ever been to a big city like Dallas or New York or Chicago or, LA or San Francisco, then right off the bat, when you go to a club or a bar or something, the pretty girls will get waved through and the guys will be standing on the block. Even if you're looking like attractive, no. You're going to be like put outside while she's inside. And I say that because, there's a thing called pretty privilege. And that's because pretty people and attractive people, they oftentimes get extended olive branches that most regular people don't get. And that's because a large part of women's value often gets predicated off of how they look. And what she's saying is like, I understand as a woman what the archetype is. I understand as a woman as like what the default, the thing that guys are attracted to. They want the blonde with blue hair. They want like this type of girl, and I'm not her. So why would I walk up and get rejected? She's like, no, like I'm just not going to do that, And men are much more judgmental. Men, are much more this and that and can be harsh and rude. And that's her take. And I don't necessarily think I agree with it. I think a lot of guys, man, so many dudes out there, so many good looking guys that you see, so many like successful guys, they're so locked in to what they're doing. They don't even make time to go out of their way and talk to women. I think most of the guys that you're going to get hit on by, if you're a woman listening to this, I don't want to say they don't have shit going for them, but you're not going to get like the top successful dudes going out of their way to hit on you. I know for sure when I go somewhere, I bust my laptop open, I'm in grind mode. A 10 could walk by me, and I'm telling you, I couldn't care less. Some days I care a little bit more than others, but for the most part, I really don't care. Yeah, like I don't make eye contact. I'm like, I have a mission. My mission is to get this upload out. My mission is to update this website. My mission is to do this or that. That's my mission for the day. And I don't let anything distract from that. But a lot of, and maybe women are the same way, it'd be interesting. Maybe I'll ask that. But for the most part, a lot of the, guys who are good looking, successful, etc., they're going to be so locked in sometimes that they're not even going to like go up and entertain or hit on people. And I think for the most part, if most girls went up to a dude and really was like, hey, I actually think you're attractive and start talking, a lot of guys would actually entertain it. And I think a lot more than women think. I think dudes get offered up chances so much less because women have, you got to think the top 10% of guys are hooking up with, let's say, like the 90% of women. The top 10% of girls are getting hit on by the 90% of guys, but they kind of have access to anybody they want. And a lot of the best looking dudes still don't have a lot of access, to different women. And I don't know. I think for the most part, it's like a lot of guys just don't get approached. A lot of guys just don't get hit on. Even good looking dudes, you'd be surprised how little they even sometimes get to interact with women, especially if you're not in like a college setting or like a tight work environment, things of that nature. That's a real thing. A lot of dudes really don't get hit on. And I'm not saying that the woman should walk up to the guy, but what I am saying is if women did, guys would be a lot more receptive than society makes it out to be. You got to keep in mind, some women, not all, some are extremely rude, like when they get hit on. And I get it. I think it's because women get hit on so freaking much, dude. Like, they're at a bar, they get hit on. They're here, they get hit on. They're at the grocery store, they're trying to read a book, they're trying to do this. They just have so many people try to get with them and sleep with them. That's like, it becomes so numb, and they're just like, no, I'm good. And they default to no instead of yes. I think guys kind of default to yes instead of no. And the reason why that's relevant is because a lot of women can be extremely rude, dude. I've seen it so many. I literally went out to a bar the other day, which again, I rarely do. Went out with one of my buddies, and there's these two very, very cute girls, very cute blonde girls sitting at the bar. And I was there. I looked really nice, fresh fade, this, that, my little eyebrow slit. I was with my buddy. And I didn't want to make an advance on them, because I was like, hey, I'm here with my buddy. I'm here to have a good time with my friend. I'm not here to sit there and grovel that's just not my thing. If I go out with a friend, I'm there with you, man. I'm going to have fun with you. Old me might not have answered like that. But yes, that's for the most part how I operate. But, I saw these two guys walk up. They're like, hey, are y'all locals here? We're not from here. What are the best bars? What are the best places? And she was like, oh, yeah, this, that, and pointed them some direction where she knew there wasn't any bars, because I knew the area, and she pointed him in some direction. There was literally nothing. And then I walked up, and I was just looking at her, and I did the no hand thing, where you're like, you get your hand and you wave it across your neck, like, no, because I thought they were getting hit on. And then afterwards, she came up and started talking to me. She's like, yeah, I thought that they were going to do this and that and blah, 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 blah. And then she just started saying a bunch of rude shit about him. She was like, yeah, why the fuck would he walk up to me? He could have walked up to anybody in here. Why the fuck did he do da-da-da? And I'll be honest, the guys literally just looked like they weren't local. They're like, hey, we're not local. What are the best places? As soon as she gave them a recommendation, they just left. They didn't try to hit on her. Like, all right, cool, thank you. They just left. But the way she responded after was so freaking rude and entitled, dude. It was like, man, she was cursing at him. Like, why the fuck would he do this? Why would he walk up to me? Da-da-da-da. Like, I'm not into him. Did you see him? And she expected me to hop in and start ragging on this dude. I'm like, damn, he was just asking for a recommendation. Relax. And I say that because I've seen it myself. A lot of women are rude, ruthlessly, almost take pride and joy in really just shutting somebody down. But then when they see somebody that they really fancy, they're like, oh, I just wish I had the one, or why don't they walk up to me? It's like negativity begets negativity. Loneliness begets more loneliness. Positivity begets more positivity. If you just smile and make friends and, hey, I'm not really interested, but you seem great, da-da-da. If people did that more, you'd be so surprised how many healthy relationships there could be, or how many more people would be less alone, especially now in this generation where, the marriage rate and everything else has started to plummet. It all starts with personal accountability. It's not a women problem. It's not a men problem. It's the personal accountability thing. If a woman I've been hit on by girls that I'm like, I do not find attractive at all. I'm talking not even a single cell in me, but I bet they're still great humans. And I still talk to them, and I'm like, I applaud you. I applaud you for having the courage and walking up. That's cute. And I'll give them a hug. It's great meeting you. Have a good day. I'll be about my way. And some people aren't like that. Some people are ruthless. And so what this girl was saying was that, a lot of guys are ruthless. A lot of guys, are judgmental, and they're going to care. She's a brunette, not a blonde, and this, that. I will tell you right now, most men would not care if a cute brunette girl or a cute blonde girl walked up, as long as she's cute. And this girl is cute, and she's a brunette. And I'm like, dude, they would not care. What do you mean? They would not care, bro. A lot of guys, sadly, just don't get hit on. They don't get the opportunity. They don't get, and it's sad to say, but it's You know, there's a lot of lonely people out there. And I think, in my opinion, it's like, whether you're a man or a woman, if you see somebody you're interested in, don't let the moment slip by. Like, take advantage. And I think it's like, if you saw a nice car and you lock eyes with the car and the car's driving by you and you're walking by it, it's like, don't let that opportunity go. If you know you're interested and you see the car didn't make a U-turn, like, go for the car. I'm not saying like chase people, you know, but what I am saying is, like, if you're a dude and you see a girl that you really enjoy across the ways, and she looks at you, you look at her, like, you know there's something there. You know she's interested because she's staring right at you. She flips her hair, you know, and does all the like body language, all the mannerisms. If you walk past each other and don't say something, like, just turn around and go for it. Like, just do it, you know? Don't let something that could be great just walk and slip right by you. And so I think, even if you're a woman and you see a guy, like, you know, walk up. I'm not saying that she should hit on, and that's not really emasculating. A lot of people are like, that's a very emasculating thing. Like, that dude must be a bit, you know? Like, I don't think that that's true. I've had women actually buy me drinks before, and I thought it was really cute. I was like, damn, like, that's a whole different ball game if somebody's willing to like buy you a drink, you know? I actually think that that's cute. And I think if you're interested in somebody, you should just go for it. And I don't think most guys could care less about your hair color and this and that. I think a lot of guys would honestly settle for a girl that might not even be as attractive, but just to even have the company. And it's crazy to say. Some guys are like super attractive. They're able to socialize. They're able to walk up to people, talk to people, etc. But a lot of people aren't like that. A lot of people do need that other person to make the first move. And sometimes I think it can be the woman. It can be. Not that it should be, but I think it can be. And I think it says something about your confidence as a woman if you can do that. I met a girl at a coffee shop once. I walked by and we made eye contact, and she was leaving, and I walked by and said something about her shirt because we were matching. And then she decided to end up staying and like took a seat, and then she moved closer to me. And then I was like, oh, she's definitely interested. And I walked up, I walked up to her, and we went on a few dates. We dated for like a few months, and it was pretty great. It was pretty great. If a woman is confident in that way, like, yeah, I think that that's very attractive. And I think it shows a lot about her that she has the confidence to walk up to you. It shows like she wants you, and I think that's attractive, man. And now what the second girl said.
Definitely, like, go up to a woman. Like, go up to a woman. Like, just, they will not care. If they say no, they say no. And that's okay. Like, go up to them. You'll never know. That's like what men are supposed to do. So we don't like go up to like men. That's like, just not something we know to do.
And the second girl basically, wrapped up exactly what I'm thinking right all in one go. She said, just walk up, just do it. Just walk up, do it. If you don't, you will never know. And I think that is the scariest thing, man. I think you never in life want to ask yourself, what if? Whether it's your career, whether it's relationships, whether it's an ex, whether it's this, whether it's that, whether it's what you ate today, whether it's what you got at the restaurant was too expensive, so you settled for something else. You never want to ask yourself, what if? There's things in life that are going to be, that you objectively can't control, and you can't, have inputs, to cater them to what you want. And you will have to always ask yourself, what if? What if I was more athletic? What if I picked up football a year earlier when I was in my prime? What if I did this? What if I did that? There's things that, are in your past that you just can't control. But what you can control is what you do in the future, or how you act in the now, which is going to directly influence and change what happens in the future. It's how you act now, how you carry yourself. And I think, dude, I think you never want to ask yourself, what if? You never want to sit there and say, what if that girl, from the sub shop or the sandwich shop that was in the business fit, just grabbing her quick lunch, and she was super cute and looked confident, smiled at me. What if? What if that's the person I was meant to live out the next 40 years with? What if that's the person I was meant to get a map, and mark off places around the world that we explore together and take Polaroid pictures together. What if that's my person? And you never want to ask that yourself, like, what if? You do want to ask yourself, but you never want to put yourself in situations where you have to ask yourself that. So just walk up. You never know. You never know if it's your person. You never know if it's like if the person on the other end is like who's meant for you. And the worst thing that'll happen is a no. And I think this is a message that both men and women can take in. No one likes to be lonely. Neither side. Neither gender. Like nobody likes to be lonely. So it's like, if you see something that you want in this life, you owe it to yourself. Like, walk up, talk to them, like try to do something, And I think you never want to ask yourself what if. And yeah, I think that's a good way to end it. I think the second girl kind of wrapped it up perfectly. She's like, it's not what we do as women. Like, we just don't walk up to guys even when we're interested. And that is very, very true. A lot of women could be so freaking interested in you as a dude and not walk up, because that's just not what they're programmed. That's just not, some women will, if the feeling's right, but that's just not in the programming. It's like, hey, you're the dude, make the move, like you're the one you're supposed to be the risk taker. You're supposed to be like, take your chance. Like, what's it going to be? Like, that's kind of how they see it. And I agree. Like, that's not their like role in that is, to be the person who makes the move, but I think they can. And yeah, man, I think that's how we'll end this, because my laptop's at 1%. It might die before I save this, but I do want to say you never want to ask yourself what if. And one of the biggest misconceptions that people kind of have about each other is the whole walking up thing. Like, if you're interested in me, just do it. Just walk up. And I think most people would prefer any type of connection or conversation than none. So yeah, just do it. But thank you guys so much for listening, for viewing, watching, subscribing on everything. And be sure you tap into all of our platforms, Izzy's Room Podcast, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out.